if you are familiar with this, then chances are you are also familiar with things like these. This being the original Commodore 64 in its bread box look, brown, which looks in shape much like the VIC-20, but it's a different color. Even the keys are different colors, and this puppy matches it in size and in looks, not to mention in weight, because this is heavy. This is the 1541 disk drive that came with the Commodore 64. Now, I thought I'd do a little bit of a review of the 1541. One of the reasons being that Commodore have had a well, an interesting past with disk drives. Let me get my notes, because I had to make notes. Commodore didn't start with the Commodore 64. They started by making calculators, actually, and along the line, when Chuck Peddle came on board, and they bought MOS for their chips, they made the PET, and the PET was meant to have disk drives because it was also meant to be a business machine, and it came with the 2031 disk drives, which was a complicated device from the get-go, because Chuck Peddle wanted it to be a complex thing. There had to be 2 drives, and it had to be able to do all kinds of data handling, where Apple, they had a lot of trouble designing a working disk drive, but their end result was a very simple device that allowed you to store and retrieve data off a disk. The PET disks, they worked as well, and they worked on the IEEE interface that was inside the PET. And it had 2 6502 microprocessors. Now, it's a bit odd, of course, to have a disk drive that has a processor. This one had 2, one for the encoding and one for the processing. Now, later on, when the VIC-20 came out, of course, there had to be peripherals for the, there had to be printers, and there had to be stuff that for people to play with. And they came up with a disk drive that was, of course, based on the original 2031 disk drives that were in the PET. Now, the disk drives had to communicate with the computer somehow, and they used I/O chips. Now, the chips that were used, they had a bug in them, a timing bug, and the guy who was responsible for making it work was Robert Russell. He did some of the IEEE expansion stuff for the VIC-20, and of course, every time anything had to be put to the market, there was a lot of time pressure, and he usually this kind of hardware was presented at CES, at the Consumer Electronics shows, and in the end, he had like 10 days. Jack Trammell, the owner of Commodore, said, "You have 10 days to make it work." He wanted to beat the competition, and he wanted to show the VIC-20 with a working disk drive. So, I'm trying to find the right. It's the 6526 I/O chip, which was causing the problem. So, Robert Russell had to find a way to make it work, and he basically said, well, there's a timing bug that I can't get around. The hardware is the hardware, so he made the thing 4 times slower, so that it would work, but it was slow. So that's basically why the 1541 is, the disk drive that I've just shown you is much slower than it has to be, really. So then, when the 1540, when the Commodore 64 needed a disk drive, the 1540 and the 1541 were the 1540 drive that was with the VIC-20 was basically, it had one I/O chip, the 6502, to do both the encoding and the processing. But for the 1541, that came with the Commodore, Robert Russell wanted to improve the thing because he knew it could be fast. So he made an adaptation to the Commodore 64. He changed the I/O chip, and he added some high-speed data lines to the design of the motherboard of the Commodore 64, which was great. You know, it was supposed to work. But there was this big competition going on within Commodore 64, within Commodore, the company, between the West Coast designers and the East Coast designers. And production was mostly done on the East Coast, and on the West Coast, they made designs that went to the East Coast, and the East Coast guys had to go through the design, so you know what's wise and what's cheap to produce. So they came across these new address lines that Robert Russell had added to the design, and removed them because they thought, well, what are these doing here? And they're going to be more expensive to make, so they cut them out. Which is the whole reason why the 1541 that we know of today is slow as shit. That's history for you. So that's a little bit of history on the 1541 drive. The 1541 drive isn't the last drive to have been made. There's also the 1570 and the 1571. Both are capable of reading high-density disks and both-sided disks. The 1541, if you can use both sides of a disk, but you have to flip it over, and you know, you can cut out a little thing on the side, and you can use the disk on both sides. But the 1571 can do that just like that. So we have a little look. This spring-loaded thingamajig. You know, you put the disc in, and then you pull this down, and in order to release the disc, you push on it, and it flies up, and the disc's supposed to come out. Now, in many cases, the disc wouldn't come out, so you'd have to stick a knife or some sharp object into the drive to get the disc out, which is why this is called the toaster drive. It's a heavy thing. It has a built-in power supply, and it has a couple of connectors. It has an on and off switch. You only have to connect this you know, this three-prong power line or mains connector, because it has a power adapter inside. Having another power unit next to the one that you already need for the Commodore 64 would be a bit much, I think. Then there's a fuse. Funny to have machines still that have fuses on the outside that you can remove from the outside. And then there are two of the serial connectors. This is the IEEE line, or a bus, basically. One connects it to the Commodore, and the other can be used to connect it to another drive, so you can daisy chain them, which is a cool little feature. So that's what you get on the back side. It's a pretty sturdy machine, you know. This thing is almost as old as I am, and it still works. So why don't we have a little look at what it does. Also, I wanted to. The thing comes with its own manual. This is a copied version, but it's how to use the disk drive. Now, there are a couple of commands like load that are easy, but the rest is all crap. If you wanted to delete a file off the disk, I'm going to show you a little bit of how that works. But let's see it in action. All right, let's see what it looks like when it's connected. This is the oh, can we see? No, I can't see. This is the serial DIN plug that we're using. I'm using this connector to connect it to the Commodore. Whoop. And this is the plug. It's in the off position. There we go. That's what it looks like, and you can turn it on. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Let's look at it from the other side. And that is what it does. When the motor spins, the red LED comes on, and this is just a power LED. It's that simple. I've always learned that you have to turn the device on before you turn on the computer. I have seen cases where the Commodore computer just doesn't see the drive when it's turned on, so basically just turn it on and off, and it'll work. Maybe we can also check what it looks like when we have two of these drives connected. Let's turn it around again. Right, we got a second drive. This one has a little switcheroo. I have no idea what that does. But it's not standard. This is a modded one, but I just don't know what the mod does. So I'm going to first connect the first drive to the second. There we go. And of course this needs power as well. Turn this one on. Oh, and we turn this one on, and we have a set of drives. Now, as far as I know, the default device numbering is that this is drive number 8, and this is drive number 9. So I'm not sure what those numbers actually refer to, but when you want to address the drives, and this is always 8, and this is always 9. Let's see what it does when we turn on the computer. Alright, this is the back of the Commodore. As you can see, this is the C model, but that's the one that I have connected. Plug it in. Whoa, wait a minute. Like so. This is the video out that I use. And that is our serial connector. Right, let's turn the whole thing on. Okay, so both drives are on. They're both powered on. And when I turn on the computer, doesn't that look pretty? This is the first drive, and this is the second. So this is 8, and this is 9. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm putting a disk in the bottom drive. If I want to see what's in the directory of this disk, let me just jiggle the camera a little bit. Sorry. I have to look for the directory. So I type load and the $sign, and then I have to indicate which drive I want. And I want drive number 8, so I press enter. And it searches for that. Oh, I think I've done something. Oh, there it goes. The funny thing is that the top drive is now giving me an error message, because it also got the message to look for the directory, obviously. I'm gonna just try and see what happens if I press new. And I type list again. The list is gone. Now I've changed the disk to the other drive, and I'm gonna ask for the directory of the number 8 drive. Now the bottom drive is giving me an error message. Ask for the list, and I get the same thing. That's funny. I didn't expect that to happen, by the way. Let's see, maybe that switch has something to do with it. So I'm gonna turn off both of the drives, switch it, turn them both on again, and see what happens now. New, just to see there's nothing in memory. I load, I ask for the number 8. Ah, that's good, because now only the bottom drive. So that's probably what that mod was for. It's just some sort of drive selector. Maybe there's a software. I'm not really sure about this. Maybe there's a command that you need to give to number the drives. That is very well possible. I'm going to now switch the disk to the number 2 drive again, to the number 9 drive basically. The new, load, ask for the 9 one. Yep, and it works as expected. Now the number 9 drive responds, and I get the, okay, well, so that's cool. Now I have a number 8 and a number 9 drive, and now we know what the mod is for. It's a device selector. Now, I'm going to press new again. For any Commodore command, it is possible, if there's no ambiguity, to abbreviate your commands. You can do the list command by pressing L and then Shift I. Press return, it'll interpret that as list. Now there's no list now, but for load the same thing goes. L Shift O will give me the directory. If I do L Shift I, we get the list. The print command is a special one because the question mark hello is actually the print command. If I press new and I made a little basic program and I said print hello, and I would now do list, it would have turned that into print. Same goes for load. Line number 20, list, load. I ran this. Up. Oh, of course it overwrites the basic program to give me this. It says syntax error in 0, which is this line, which is not basic. Now, if I want to load a game, I can, of course, say load Moon Patrol. And it would load that game. Same goes for Choplifter. If I that's a good one. Let's just do that, and I'll check the manual for the rest. There's also an addition to this command. If I add a (1), that will mean that this code is loaded into the memory location that the file contains. So if I go like this, it'll start loading Moon Patrol, and it'll give me some time to read the manual. Right, so Moon Patrol has loaded. Do the list command. Oh, nothing's loaded actually. Probably something went wrong. The addition of the 1 in the end indeed means that the program is loaded absolute, which means it's stored. Location is defined by the first 2 bytes in the file. If I do (8), it'll just load the file to basic memory, which is what I'll do now, and we'll see what that looks like. Right, and we're done. Let's look at what that's given us. It's given us nothing again. Yay! There may be something wrong with this drive. See what happens. Obviously something wrong with the file, but this is Choplifter. A great game, by the way, on the Commodore 64. But we're not here to play any games, so I'm gonna turn the Commodore off, and I'm gonna turn it on again. There we go. Now, of course, there's a load command, as you've seen. There's also a save command, which will allow you to save your basic program that you have basically to the disk. And then there's a verify command. Those are the commands that you have those are the basic commands that are available to do something with the disk. But that's pretty limited, and the drive can do more than that. Suppose you wanted to, and I'm going to insert another disk into the drive. I just picked one out of my huge collection. Okay. There is stuff on here which may be, well, this actually looks like an interesting disk. Let me get a disk that is less interesting. If I have any, I don't know. But you may want to, oh, sorry. Well, this looks not very interesting. So let's. I'm gonna use this disk to show you some things. Now, for instance, if I wanted to make a new disk out of this, I have this disk, and I want to throw everything away and start afresh. This is when BASIC has no more standard commands for me, and I have to use a different syntax. So here we go. I'm going to do this. Open 15, 8, 15. This opens, let me say it right. The three numbers that you see are a file number, a drive number, and a channel number, if I am not mistaken. The meaning of those numbers is very interesting for this demonstration. Just believe me that this is the way to talk to a device connected to the Commodore in this way. Now we're going to print a command to the channel that we've just opened. And the command looks like this. We're going to say new 0. We're going to give this thing a name. Highland. It's going to get a little number. Now the drive has done something. I'm going to say close 15. Oh. And I'm going to do that when the light goes off. Now it's actually doing something. The disk organization means that there's a block allocation map at the start of the disk. Everything on a Commodore disk is measured in blocks. Now I don't have the information ready in my head that says how many bytes that is, but everything is counted in blocks, and we'll just see in a minute how many blocks there are on a disk. But it's actually writing a new block allocation map now, and I can use that time to look up the anatomy of a disk. Okay, there are 36 tracks. Okay, well, it's done. So I close the channel. Whoop. I'm gonna check what is on the disk by asking the directory, list it, and there we go. We have 664 blocks free and an empty disk. So that is what we have. That is the new command. There's also a scratch command which will allow us to remove a file from the disk. So I'm going to say new. I'm going to say for A is 1 to 10. print A 30 next A. If I ran this, I'd get 1 to 10 on the screen. If I said save 4A to disk, it's doing that. If I did new now and listed my as nothing, if I looked on the disk now at the directory to see what's there, there's my 4A program. If I did this, by the way, you can also use wildcards. If I did this, this is a wildcard, which just means load the first thing that you see on the disk. Do this, I list it, and there's my program again. Oh, I run it, and it runs again. R-Shift-U is the same as run. So that's how save works. But I can also, if I knew and I made another program which says for A is 1 to 20. Oh, whoop. I said 20, print Highlander 30 next A, and I ran this. 20 Highlanders. I said save high to disk, saving it to disk. So there's nothing there. There are 2 programs on the disk. There we go. If I wanted to remove the 4A one, I would say this. Open 15. And now this is where it becomes awkward. I never deleted anything off disk because it was just too much work. I say print. Oh, I'm not sure if that works. So I'll just say print at channel 15. Scratch 0. I guess the 0 is sort of the end of the command. And colon 4A. Close. Oh, and I can abbreviate the scratch with S. I do that. I look at the disk and I wait for the light to turn off, which it just did. I said close 15. Oh. Check the directory. And it's gone. So, that's just there's a rename function. There's a way of not overwriting a file that you save with the same name. There is a copy function. There is an initialize function, which initializes the block allocation map. There's a validate function, and there's loads of other stuff. But those are the most important things that you can do. Well, that's I'm pretty happy with the result. What'd you think? Questions? Anyone? No one? Okay, well let's wrap it up then. Well, I was using my seat to put the drives on, so I'm standing now. So that's it. That's my 1541 review, basically. I just wanted to, you know, I've been messing around with the disk drives again, so I just wanted to show how it works and show you some commands, and well, that's it basically. If you have any questions or any remarks, I mean, I don't know anything. I don't know everything. I know something, but not everything. So, or if you have any experience using several disks, I can remember my friends having 2 disk drives and using copy software just to copy commercial disks to another. You know, so it's a simple way of cracking. So if you have any information or any experience that might be interesting or helpful, just leave a comment or whatever, and I'll appreciate it. So thanks for watching, and see you guys.